Part 98. Back to the 60s, The Struggle Career of a Charmed Wife. Author, Ning Xiaobai. Chapter 971. Apart from Zhang Xiaoyu, there is currently only one lesbian in the Zhang family, Mei Rulan, who serves tea and pours water with a warm attitude. Reciprocity should be reciprocated and the other party should be courteous, so they can't neglect it, can they? Feng Qingxiu hurriedly stood up and took the enamel jar with both hands. Comrade Rulan, sit down and rest, stop working. The children of the two families have become revolutionary comrades, and we are no longer outsiders. It's okay, it's okay. I'm not busy with anything. I'm just pouring some boiling water. You guys chat first while I go cook. In order to entertain his in-laws, the guards had already been sent back to the guard camp to rest by Zhang Yun. Feng Qingxiu immediately put the enamel jar on the coffee table. I'll help you, I'm pretty good at it. And me, Zhang Xiaoyu instantly ran between the two of them, one on each side, holding their arms. I'm also very good at my craftsmanship, Aunt Chue, look at me showing off my skills. Mei Rulan suddenly swallowed her words that she would not let the guests cook. She carefully observed the faces of everyone in the Lu family, and there was no dissatisfaction with Xiaoyu's words and deeds. The Lu family values the Zhang family, so why don't the Zhang family value the Lu family? Therefore, the dishes prepared by the Zhang family were very rich, and it took a lot of effort to get the vegetables and meat in front of them. Mei Rulan planned to make a braised pork, a boiled shrimp, a braised tofu, a scrambled egg, and a cold pig ear. Make a vegetable soup. The above stipulates that a maximum of 4 dishes and 1 soup are allowed, and they are violating the rules today. Feng Qingxiu and Lu Zhang knew that life was not easy for every household, so they brought their own food rations and exchanged the food for 10 steamed buns and 10 hanging stove biscuits. They also packed a lunch box of braised pork from a state-owned restaurant and queued up early to buy a roast duck. Put the slices in a lunch box and brought them together. Knowing that Zhang Yun likes peanuts, he specially brought spiced peanuts in cans and bottles. You are so polite, spending so much money, Zhang Yun couldn't help but said when he saw the extra food on the table. Lu Zhang smiled and said, if you eat it in everyone's stomach, it won't be a waste. People regard food as their first priority, and eating is the most important thing. Lu Tianjun did not take the seat first, but opened a bottle of Maotai, poured wine, and handed chopsticks to the elders. His attitude was so attentive that Zhang Yun and his son felt comfortable. They felt that this child was really good and knew etiquette. Xiaoyu had really found a treasure. The Zhang family doesn't care about family status but only looks at people, and Zhang Xiaoyu is not outstanding. If they find a partner like Lu Tianwan, they will laugh even in their dreams. Please, you're welcome, family. Zhang Yun raised his wine glass to greet Lu Zhang and Feng Qingxiu, who offered tea instead of wine. There is no rule in the Zhang family that they should eat and sleep without speaking, so Lu Zhang and Feng Qingxiu naturally followed the guests as they pleased. When he learned that Lu Zhang and Feng Qingxiu had been on leave for 3 full months, Zhang Yun frowned, thought for a while, and suddenly understood. Is it your new army commander He Qian who caused the trouble? This old boy, hey, with the same bad behavior as before. It's okay, don't worry, he has some abilities, but it's hard to convince the public. No matter how hard he works, the people below won't convince him. We don't worry, just do our job well, Lu Zhang replied, making no comment on He Xiang's character. Even before Zhang Yun spoke, the couple did not mention He Xiang. Zhang Yun nodded, and just as he was about to say something, there was a heavy knock on the door outside. Xiaoyu, open the door, Zhang Yun said casually. The meeting between the two families was peaceful. Zhang Xiaoyu was so happy that she stood up and jumped to open the door. The other party yelled loudly, Zhang Xiaoyu, you can do it. You are really good. Do you still have our Li family in your eyes? What do you think of our Li Jun? Have you forgotten your marriage to Li Jun? When I got up, I realized that 2 chapters were missing. Before I went to bed, I always felt that something was unfinished. It turned out that I didn't put these 2 chapters in because I was disturbed by others. It's 10th update. It's 10th update. Please vote. It's the end of the month. I won't vote for monthly votes. When? Back to the 60s, the struggle career of a charmed wife. Author, Ning Xiaobai. Chapter 972. The people at the door were Li Jun and his mother Yecheng. Zhang Xiaoyu was stunned by Yecheng's scolding and at the same time confused. Her marriage to Li Jun? When did they get engaged? Why don't you know this? She had no mother when she was a child and had eaten Yecheng's milk. Her father, brother, and sister-in-law often taught her to keep it in mind, and she has always been very respectful to Yecheng. The 2 families are close to each other, and she often goes to Li's house to play. She grew up with Li Jun when she was a teenager. She didn't see each other for many years until she joined the army. She would also pick some of the things Feng Qingxiu gave her and send them to the Li family. Why didn't she see the Li family anymore? And yeah, Zhang Xiaoyu was interrupted by Yecheng before she could finish her sentence. What are you? Are you speechless? Our family treats you so well, and Li Jun greets you so well, how can you change your mind? Wait, Zhang Xiaoyu was not without temper, and said angrily, and yeah, please speak clearly and don't put a shit basin on my head for no reason, okay? You were good to me, and I have never forgotten it. Yes. I have been in the army since I was 14 or 15 years old. What does my love report have to do with Li Jun? I grew up with him, but he is not my revolutionary comrade. Who didn't know that when I was a child? I'm pretending to be a family member, but I'm also the groom, not the bride. She just wanted to be Lu Tianjun's bride. Everyone who was eating in the hall heard what he said. Lu Tianjun immediately stood up and walked to Zhang Xiaoyu's side, acting protectively. Seeing Lu Tianjun, Yecheng glared at them fiercely, his eyes full of anger. Next to her, Li Jun was thin, with a gentle appearance, fair skin, and wore a pair of glasses. His eyes were full of accusations when he looked at Lu Tianjun and Zhang Xiaoyu, and he looked shocked. Xiaoyu, you. When Lu Tianjun stood up, Zhang Yun winked at Mei Ruolin, who walked to the door and interrupted Li Jun directly, just like Ye Kun interrupted Zhang Xiaoyu, saying, and yeah, what do you want to say? I came in and said, my dad is at home and our in-laws are here too. Let's open the skylights so as not to feel upset. Yecheng snorted heavily and strode into the hall. Seeing Lu Zhang and Feng Qingxiu in the hall, her anger increased even more, almost reaching a height of 3 feet. Lao Zhang, you have to give us an explanation. Zhang Yun pointed to the chairs given up by Lu Tianjun and Zhang Xiaoyu, sit down and talk. Yecheng sat down bitterly, and Li Jun followed suit. Seeing the table full of food and wine, Yecheng couldn't help but said, Lao Zhang, are you living a good life? I wonder if you are entertaining that distinguished guest and setting out so many meals, you even ignore the rule of 4 dishes and 1 soup. Before Zhang Yun opened his mouth, Feng Qingxiu said apologetically, I'm sorry, we brought our own rations, and we brought a little too much. Yecheng then turned his attention to Lu Zhang and Feng Qingxiu, and noticed the military uniforms on their bodies. There was a hint of surprise in his eyes, and he turned to look at Zhang Yun, is this your in-laws? Not at all, too young, especially Feng Qingxiu, who is only in her 20s at most. Zhang Yun nodded, yes, Comrade Lu Zhang and Comrade Qingxiu are Tianwen's uncle and aunt. Tianwen's parents died when he was young. His grandfather and uncle and aunt raised him. In our opinion, his uncle-auntie is no different from his parents. It is a rare meeting between our 2 parents, and we are discussing the lifelong affairs of our 2 children. Comrade Yecheng, what do you want to do? You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Back to the 60s, The Struggle Career of a Charmed Wife. Author, Ning Xiaobai. Chapter 973. The old man pretended not to hear Yeqing's accusation against Zhang Xiaoyu and went straight to the point. Okay, Lao Zhang, since you have spoken, let's have a good talk. Yeqing pointed at Zhang Xiaoyu and Lu Tianjun, who had been standing because there were no chairs. What happened to the two of them? If someone else hadn't followed me, he said, Xiaoyu filed a love report yesterday, but I'm still in the dark about it. Zhang Yun curled his fingers and clasped the table, once and for all. Comrade, yeah, I don't quite understand what you mean. Xiaoyu and Tianjun are in free love. Isn't it normal to keep a low profile before the love report passes the political review? It won't be too late to tell the world after passing the political review. Of course, they don't have to tell the world. When they hold a wedding, don't worry, I will definitely invite your family to have a wedding drink to thank you for your support. After hearing these words, Yeqing's face turned extremely ugly. Lao Zhang, have you forgotten our marriage contract? Li Jun has always kept a clean mind, isn't he just waiting for Xiaoyu to grow up? Zhang Yun frowned, the marriage contract between the two families. Why didn't I know about it? When Xiaoyu and Li Jun were young, you and Lao Li arranged a baby kiss at the wine table. Have you forgotten? Did you forget it, or do you look down on our Li family? Do you look down on our Li Jun? Yeqing suddenly became furious. Comrade, yeah, wait. Wait, Zhang Yun stopped her next accusation, thought carefully for a moment, and said, I remember the joke 13 years ago. At that time, you and your old Li said this, right? You said, Xiaoyu, can you be our Junjun's wife? Did I remember that correctly? Yeqing nodded, so you still remember. Since you remember, why don't you keep your promise? Zhang Xiaoyu was so angry that she stamped her feet and said loudly, didn't I say it at the time? I said, and I drank your milk because I was too young. When I grow up, I will buy you malted milk. Drink. She had already remembered and never forgot her promise to buy Yeqing some high-end nutritional products every year. At that time, she thought malted milk was the most delicious thing. Lu Tianjun held Zhang Xiaoyu's hand, full of comfort. He naturally believed in Zhang Xiaoyu compared to the Li family, who didn't know the so-called Li family. The two had known each other for a long time, and he knew her character very well. Yeqing had a sullen face and scolded, I'm talking to your dad, why do you, a junior, get in the way? Zhang Xiaoyu opened her mouth, and Lu Tianjun patted her hand. She swallowed her words and looked at Yeqing and Li Jun angrily. The two families had never had an engagement, so she watched how the other party made up lies. Zhang Yun loved his apple the most, and Yeqing's rebuke made him very unhappy. Comrade Yeqing, let's get down to business. Yeqing snorted, what's there to say? You agreed to the marriage yourself at that time. I remember very clearly that after Xiaoyu said this, your Lao Li said, yes, brother Lao Zhang, what do you think of our Li Jun? Is he worthy of being your hairy son-in-law? That's what I said, Lao Li. I said, it's not a question of whether we are worthy or not. We are not old feudalists. There is no such thing as arranged marriage or child marriage. The lifelong affairs of the children will be decided after they grow up and will be decided according to their own wishes. Decide. If they have similar temperaments and are interested in each other, we will form a family. If they grow up like brothers and sisters and have a deep love for each other, we cannot force the children to become enemies. Back to the 60s, The Struggle Career of a Charmed Wife. Author, Ning Xiaobai. Chapter 974. When Zhang Yun said this, he paused, glanced at Yeqing, and continued, I clearly remember that you and your old Li said, the melon that is forced is not sweet, so it will naturally be based on the child's wishes. Of the two children, as long as one of them is not happy, we will not marry the in-laws. Comrade Yeching, did I remember a word of this correctly? Zhang Yun's memory was particularly good when it came to his daughter. If it was anything else, he would have forgotten all about it. But you also said that you have to wait until you are 20, Yeching said. 20 years old? It's been more than 10 years, Comrade Yeching. You may not remember what the two sides said at that time, but I remember Zhang Yun retracted his finger from knocking on the table and said seriously, I'm going to. The saying goes like this, I said, if two children still don't have a partner by the time they are 20, let's try to match them up and see if they can get along. Whether the marriage will work out depends on God's will, but it didn't say that the two children are not allowed to find a partner before they are 20 years old. The two families must wait until they are 20 to arrange the marriage. A girl can get a marriage certificate when she is 18 years old. No one can guarantee what will happen in the future. He will not give himself a clue in such an important agreement and affect his daughter's lifelong event. At this moment, Zhang Yun was extremely glad that he had kept an eye out. Zhang Xiaoyu's eyes lit up and she immediately said, yes, that's what Dad said. I have an impression. Uncle Li even gave my dad 3 high fives. I'm not 20 years old this year, and I already have my own revolution. I'm a comrade, so I don't have to wait until I'm 20 to comply with the agreement and have to date Li Jun. So, and yeah, Li Jun, don't put the blame on me. It turns out there is such a story in the middle, Feng Qingxiu thought to herself. No wonder Zhang Xiaoyu dated Li Jun after she turned 20, no wonder the Li family took Zhang Xiaoyu as their daughter-in-law as a matter of course, and even interfered with Zhang Xiaoyu. Satsuki works in the cultural troupe. The so-called baby kiss, Zhang Yun has certain qualifications, shows a father's love for his daughter, and is very elegant. On the other hand, the Li family probably already regarded Zhang Xiaoyu as theirs, right? Feng Qingxiu was relieved, but Yeching was unhappy. How can you two say that? So what if I misremember even a little bit? If Xiaoyu was not our future daughter-in-law, would I be so good to her? You regard Xiaoyu as your daughter-in-law, but you don't regard Li Jun as your son-in-law. How can you be so ruthless and unrighteous? In what way is our Li Jun inferior to this little soldier? She pointed at Lu Tianjun bitterly, with disdain in her eyes. Zhang Xiaoyu said with a cold face, and yeah, you are an elder, I don't want to say bad words. If I know that you treat me well only if I must marry Li Jun, then I would rather you treat me badly. Tianwan, it has nothing to do with the previous agreement between the two families, please don't involve him in it, and don't compare him with Li Jun. There is no comparison between Li Jun and Lu Tianjun. Not as good looking as Lu Tianjun, not as strong as Lu Tianjun, not as talented as Lu Tianjun, not as insightful as Lu Tianjun, not as graceful as Lu Tianjun, and he also behaves childishly, always hanging out with the group of big boys. Li Jun is not a bad person, she knows that, and she has always treated Li Jun as an older brother. However, birds of a feather flock together, and if you hang out with that group of people for a long time, can you really get out of the mire without getting stained? After all, those who are close to vermilion are red and those who are close to ink are black. Hearing Zhang Xiaoyu's defense of him, Lu Tianjun's eyes showed a smile, and he enjoyed it. Back to the 60s, the struggle career of a charmed wife. Author, Ning Xiaobai. Chapter 975. Lu Zhang glanced sideways at his nephew. You brat, don't just be happy, come on. If your daughter-in-law is criticized by others, you must be a man and you must not hide behind your daughter-in-law and do nothing. Lu Tianjun lived up to his uncle's expectations and took a step forward, blocking Zhang Xiaoyu behind him. Comrade, yeah, as you said, I am just a soldier, and I am definitely not as noble as your son. Since you are self-aware, why are you standing here? Yeching interrupted him with a sharp look on his face. Xiaoyu is the apple of Comrade Jiang's eye. She has been loved by thousands of people since she was a child. Among girls of this age there are not many high-ranking officials and daughters who can compare with her. Do you think you are worthy of her? Seeing Lu Tianjun being bullied, Zhang Xiaoyu was unhappy, with a rare look of anger on her face, and yeah, what do you mean? Whether Tianjun is worthy or not is up to me and my family. Xiaoyu, I'm doing this for your own good, Yeqing said. For my own good, Zhang Xiaoyu couldn't stop laughing, with a hint of cold air in her smile. If you were for my own good, you should bless me and Tianwan, instead of coming to our house to ask questions and blame Tianwan. You come to raise the army asking questions. My dad has explained that neither my dad nor I have violated the agreement. You accuse Tianjun. Let me tell you the truth. Except for his family background, which is not important to us, there is nothing wrong with Tianjun. I just like his motivation, his filial piety, his ability, and his demeanor. If it weren't for the concern about the friendship between the two families, and if it wasn't for the fear of causing unnecessary trouble to Lu Tianjun, Zhang Xiaoyu would have said that Li Jun couldn't compare to Lu Tianjun in every aspect, not even a hair. Beauty is in the eye of the beholder. Feng Qingxiu pursed her lips and smiled softly, and suddenly said, Comrade Li Jun, your mother has been talking since you came here. As one of the parties involved, don't you think you should say something? Your Majesty, Li Jun didn't react for a moment. As soon as these words came out of his mouth, Zhang Yun wanted to cover his face. No wonder those cultural people said that they were a bunch of rough guys and illiterate. Even though Li Junsi looks elegant and wears a pair of glasses, he is not as knowledgeable as Lu Tianjun. Yeqing said angrily, it's your mother. My mother is just my mother, just say no. Who can understand such a polite person? When I was in school, the teacher didn't say that your mother meant my mother. Li Jun's complaint gradually faded away when he saw Feng Qingxiu's appearance. Lowered until it disappeared. What did I say? What is there to say? Xiaoyu is with your nephew now, do you have the right to speak to me? Feng Qingxiu smiled slightly, showing off her unparalleled elegance. How could it not be so? You guys from the big courtyard often pursue female soldiers from the art troupe, especially those who are very beautiful. They block and intercept them and do whatever they can to stop them. You are here, which one to pursue? Li Jun turned pale and blurted out, how do you know? Feng Qingxiu was originally testing. In order to understand the siege between Lu Tianjun and Zhang Xiaoyu, she felt that after Li Jun dated Zhang Xiaoyu, he took advantage of the visit to fool around with the female soldiers of the art troupe. It seemed that the development was too fast. Moreover, the relationship, if this is the case later, what about before the relationship? Are you really just keeping yourself clean? You know, dogs can't change their habit of eating daddy. Now, seeing Li Jun's reaction, she knew that her temptation was successful, and Li Jun really had something in his heart. Zhang Xiaoyu and Feng Qingxiu had been getting along for a long time, and her response was very quick, okay, Li Jun, you guys are working together and often do this kind of thing, but you still have the nerve to come to our house with Aunt Ye to ask questions. I really misjudged you. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Back to the 60s, The Struggle Career of a Charmed Wife. Author, Ning Xiaobai. Chapter 976. What happened to my Li Jun? What happened to my Li Jun? Say it, Yeqing was furious. Mei Ruolin is also a smart person, and she reacted immediately. Zhang Yun and his son and Lu Zhang who were present probably understood. However, as a lesbian, it was easier for Mei Ruolin to speak. Li Jun is not like those boys who secretly pursue the art troupe girl. You already have someone you like, why do you care about us, Xiaoyu, looking for a partner? Yeqing was stunned, what nonsense are you talking about? Mei Ruolan noticed that Li Jun's pale face turned very gloomy in an instant, and said calmly, "Comrade Yeqing will just ask Li Jun if we are talking nonsense." With his face turned like that, it seemed that Feng Qingxiu was right. Yeqing suddenly turned her head to look at her son. When she saw the guilt on his face, she knew that what Mei Ruolan said was true. She wasn't the only one who understood. Who among the people present didn't understand? Zhang Yun was furious and said, "Go away, go away. Li Jun did this kind of thing, and you still have the face to come to us to accuse me, blaming my daughter for finding a partner on her own." Yeqing didn't know, forget it. Li Jun knew what he was doing, so how could he have the nerve to come to his mother's house? I used to think that Li Jun was taller among the short guys. He had a good character and a gentle personality, and would not bully Zhang Xiaoyu. Now I realized that he and those gang of dandies were the same as each other. "Li Jun," Yeqing shouted, "tell me clearly, what is going on?" "Mom, I have never done anything to feel sorry for Xiaoyu. Really not, I just joined in the fun and wrote a few letters to Tang Rao." Li Jun kept waving his hands, trying to defend himself. "Just pursuing without taking action means you are worthy of our Xiaoyu," Mei Ruolan said calmly. "Do you have to ask us to catch you fooling around to be considered worthy of Xiaoyu? Li Jun, you look down on our Zhang family too much. We, the Zhang family, can never tolerate sand in our eyes. Please go back, please, and don't make everyone's faces look bad here." The son was so unsatisfied, and the blame fell into the hands of the Zhang family. Yeqing had to swallow all the accusations he had made against the Zhang family and Zhang Xiaoyu. He dragged his son hard and left without saying hello or replying. Head. How can you look back when your face is dull? After they left, Mei Ruolan stopped Zhang Xiaoyu and closed the door herself. As soon as she turned around and returned to the dining room, she heard Lu Zhang ask Feng Qingxiu, "Qingxiu, how did you know that Li Jun was pursuing the female soldier from the art troupe? You didn't even follow her." "We mentioned it." Feng Qingxiu said sheepishly, "If I tell you, you are not allowed to say anything about the Taoist status behind my back. Talking about people behind their back is not a very honorable thing. It's okay, just tell me, we are all a family, and we won't spread the word." Originally, I wanted to embarrass Lu Tianjun, but now I see that Lu Zhang, his wife, and Lu Tianjun are not dissatisfied with Zhang Xiaoyu because of Ye Qingxing's accusation. Instead, they defend him. Full of determination, he solved Ye Qing's plan to raise an army in one fell swoop. Yun pressed the plan in his heart again, and finally pressed it. Feng Qingxiu cleared her throat, and Zhang Xiaoyu, with quick eyes and quick hands, immediately handed the enamel jar filled with warm water to her. "Thank you, Xiaoyu." Feng Qingxiu took a sip of water and moistened her throat. "As everyone knows, Xiaoyu and I have a good relationship. A friend from the cultural troupe of the capital military region tipped me off. That year Xiaoyu was imprisoned. She was arranged to work off stage but could not perform on stage, which was actually caused by the pressure put on the art troupe by the Li family. At that time, she said with disdain that she had never heard that Li Jun and Xiaoyu were in a relationship, so the Li family just intervened. I don't know why. Back to the 60s, the struggle career of a charmed wife. Author, Ning Xiaobai. Chapter 977. Feng Qingxiu's words were immediately interrupted by Zhang Xiaoyu. "Aunt Chue, you said that when I changed from the stage to the audience in the art troupe, the Li family tampered with it behind my back. Why have I never heard you say that? After I heard that the Li family has an engagement with your family, how can I have the nerve to complain to you about the Li family? In that case, wouldn't I become a villain who speaks ill of people behind their backs?" Feng Qingxiu looked at it. Everyone looked surprised and continued, "Actually, when Tianwan and Xiaoyu confirmed their relationship, I was sweating a lot. The source of this cold sweat was the Li family. If no one from the Li family came to make such a fuss, today, I also plan to talk to Comrade Zhang about this matter to solve the future problems of the two children. Her plan was to find out the ins and outs of the marriage contract between the two families, but she didn't expect that the Li family was so well informed. The two families were having dinner when Yeqing came to visit with Li Jun. He must have seen the right opportunity. Fortunately, Li Jun was not innocent before he dated Zhang Xiaoyu, otherwise it would not be easy to resolve today's matter. Although the Zhang family had good reasons, one look at Yeqing's appearance showed that she was a stubborn person who only listened to what she wanted to hear. Zhang Yun raised his hand. Wait a minute, who did you hear that the two families have a marriage contract? Is the Li family interfering in Xiaoyu's work under this guise? Although after the Chen Chen incident, I don't want Xiaoyu to jump up and down on the stage. Jumping is the same as a monkey, but the meaning is different. He is Zhang Xiaoyu's father. With Zhang Xiaoyu's consent, it is only natural for him to interfere with her work transfer. Li family. What qualifications does the Li family have? Feng Qingxiu thought for a while and replied seriously, that's what the Li family said when they put pressure on the art troupe. What are the original words? Others must have told me that they are not the original words. It probably means that Xiaoyu will marry in the future. It's inappropriate to enter Li's house and continue to perform on stage. Doesn't this mean there is an engagement? Zhang Xiaoyu blushed angrily. How could they do this? The words have reached Aunt Chue's ears, so many people must know. What should Tianjun and I do? Others will definitely say that our family is treacherous and that God Wan broke the engagement between the two families. Tears came out. Don't worry, I will solve it. Lu Tianjun comforted him. In an instant, he had already thought of 7 or 8 ways to deal with the Li family and outsiders. The rumors from outsiders will not affect us. Tianjun. Zhang Xiaoyu burst into tears and was extremely moved. Zhang Yun said, this is a matter between two adults. What does it have to do with you juniors? You two, just do whatever you want, train as you should, work as you should, study as you should, and wait until the love report is given. I'll go talk to Lao Li about this matter. We, the Zhang family, will do whatever we want to do. I'm afraid that the heart of a villain will judge the heart of a gentleman, Feng Qingxiu said. Zhang Yun was stunned and then heard Mei Ruolan say, yes, Dad, you really have to be careful. It's not always the bad guys who complain first. The incident involving Chen Chen from the cultural troupe is a lesson for us. When mentioning Chen Chen, everyone couldn't help but think of Wan Xingguo, and everyone sighed in their hearts. How is Comrade Wan Xingguo doing now? Zhang Yun asked. Although something as irritating as Chen Chen happened, Wan Xingguo still has a great life. Don't be depressed because of this. There are many good girls in the world. Yes. Lu Zhang sighed, once bitten by a snake, I will be afraid of well ropes for 10 years. Let's wait until the scars heal. Back to the 60s, the struggle career of a charmed wife. Author, Ning Xiaobai. Chapter 978. Zhang Yun sighed after hearing this. Such a good man was ruined by Chen Chen. Mei Ruolan listened to them and asked Feng Qingxiu softly, Comrade Feng, how do you know about Li Jun's pursuit of female soldiers in the art troupe? Did your friends in the art troupe tell you that? If so, it would be a bit unreasonable for her not to tell Zhang Xiaoyu when she knew that the two families were engaged. It's not that Mei Ruolan treats a gentleman with a villain's heart, but she treats Xiaoyu as half a daughter. After experiencing what happened to the Li family, she is naturally a little more cautious. How smart is Feng Qingxiu? See through Mei Ruolan's mind at a glance. If I had known, even if the Zhang and Li families had an ironclad marriage contract, I would have risked offending the Li family to remind Xiaoyu, lest she encounter someone unkind. Feng Qingxiu said straightforwardly, today, I tested Li Jun, because I had no information about this, but I just felt that Li Jun was hanging out with those big boys and took their actions for granted, so he himself would not be any better. Facts have proved that my decision was correct. A wise move that left the Li family speechless. Zhang Xiaoyu raised her thumbs and said, "Aunt Chue, you are still as smart as ever. Thanks to you today, otherwise they would not leave so easily." Dad made it clear about the agreement made more than 10 years ago, but they refused to accept it. "Xiaoyu, do you blame me for not telling you this? What's up? It's the Li family's interference in your work." Zhang Xiaoyu chuckled, "Aunt Chue, why would I blame you? You didn't do anything wrong, and they didn't come to apologize even if they were wrong. What are you apologizing for? Didn't you say it yourself? I originally planned to discuss it with my dad. Yes, I just didn't remember to say it. You did this for my own good, I understand, and you won't do it ungratefully. I don't plan to follow Lu Tianjun's preconditions, and I still want to discuss with my father to solve the future problems. Isn't it just for myself? Thank you Xiaoyu, thank you for your generosity. Our family Tianjun doesn't know how many lifetimes of hard work he has to cultivate before meeting you." Feng Qingxiu put down a stone in her heart and said to Zhang Yun, "Comrade Zhang, Xiaoyu and Tianjun's matter has been settled. Zibao's father and I cannot stay in the capital for a long time, and you will have to worry about the two children." Zhang Yun waved his hand, "With a daughter and half a son, how can I call it worrying if I take care of my own children?" Early the next morning, before it was bright, he didn't wait to find Li Sheng, Li Jun's father. As soon as he walked out of the house, he heard the troublemaker tell him, "Lao Zhang, what's going on with your Xiaoyu and Li Jun, huh? The old Li family has been talking about the engagement for several years, but your Xiaoyu brought a boy back, and Li Jun and his mother went out to meet the daughter of the old Su family." Zhang Yun was stunned. "What did you say?" The other party laughed. "Your Xiaoyu Jian's love report has spread all over the compound. Who doesn't know about it? Didn't Comrade Yeching from old Li's family take Li Jun to your house yesterday? What happened? Already?" Zhang Yun said calmly, "When men get married when they are older, women get married when they get older. What's so hard to understand about this?" "That's what you say, but don't you two have a marriage contract? Why do you think no one has pursued Xiaoyu in the past 2 years? Isn't it because the old Li family vowed that you have a marriage contract, which makes many children of the same age stay away? Why are these two children when you reach the age where you can get married, it becomes irrelevant whether you marry a man or a woman?" You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Back to the 60s, The Struggle Career of a Charmed Wife. Author, Ning Xiaobai. Chapter 979. Zhang Yun did not answer his question first, but instead asked carefully about the Li family's movements. "Didn't I say that?" Li Jun was led by his mother to meet the daughter of the old Su family early in the morning. They made an appointment at Dongleshun. Ah no, it was a national restaurant. I heard his mother said so. I got up early, I happened to meet them and asked casually, and the answer they gave me was this. My daughter is called Lan Fang, right? She was born to her third or fourth wife. She has been secretly in love with Li Jun for a long time. Who doesn't know how close we are, the other party said with a smile. Old Su is Su Junju, and Su Lanfang is Su Junju's third daughter. She was born with ice and snow, and is very clever. Although her mother is no longer Mrs. Su Junju, she is deeply loved by Su Junju. Zhang Yun had heard that Su Lanfang was interested in Li Jun, but he didn't take it to heart. As for the Li family, what is the purpose of doing this? While eating breakfast, Zhang Yun asked the people at the table. Except for Lu Tianjun, who went back to the dormitory last night, everyone else was there. Feng Qingxiu hesitated for a moment. Could it be that the Li family wants to use this to show that their family has not lost face? The engagement came from the Li family, who treated Zhang Xiaoyu as their daughter-in-law, and almost everyone in the military compound knew it. Under such circumstances, Zhang Xiaoyu suddenly felt that she belonged to a family, and she got together with Lu Tianjun and made a love report. The most embarrassing ones are definitely the Li family and Li Jun. People will wonder if there is something wrong with Li Jun. The Zhang family ignored the marriage agreement and allowed Zhang Xiaoyu to marry someone else. In addition, everyone may also be wondering in their hearts whether the marriage contract is wishful thinking by the Li family. After everyone listened to her words and thought for a moment, Zhang Yun and his son, uncle and nephew Lu Zhang showed clear expressions. It's not that they are not smart enough, it's that they simply can't think of this. Some trivial thoughts in life are beyond the imagination of grown men like them. Zhang Xiaoyu was confused. What do you mean? Aunt Chue, I don't understand what you are saying. Silly girl, Mei Ruolan explained carefully. Although Yuan Tianjun's love report was not deliberately hidden from anyone, it was not publicized deliberately, so few people knew about it. In this case, Li Jun, if you meet other girls with great fanfare, everyone will soon know about it. In the future, if people know about Yuan Tianwan, everyone will only say that it's not that you don't like Li Jun, but that Li Jun doesn't like you. Of course, it can also be replaced by our family and the Li family. The Li family has saved their own family's face, but our family has been criticized. Zhang Xiaoyu suddenly realized, are they too fussy about this? What's the point of fussing over this? Wouldn't it be enough to just tell the outside world what the two parties' agreement was? We have to deal with all this. Lu Tianjun smiled and said, you are open-minded and magnanimous, so naturally you don't understand what some people think. Zhang Yun waved his hand, they can do whatever they want, as long as they don't interfere with our family's life. They think this can save their face, so let them do it. There is meat in the buns but not in the folds, there is no need for us to argue with them. If the Li family insists on this matter, then he will not ignore it. What the Li family did, gave them the feeling of fists hitting cotton. Several people stayed up last night, thinking about how to deal with the Li family's next move. However, this move caused all sorts of consequences for them. The plan failed. Failure is good, life is not easy, and no one wants to live in intrigues. Back to the 60s, the struggle career of a charmed wife. Author, Ning Xiaobai. Chapter 980. Lu Zhang, Zhang Yun, Zhang Zhou, and his son rested in Zhang Yun's bedroom last night. According to the situation at hand, they stayed in bed together until midnight and chatted until midnight. Each of them benefited a lot. Lu Zhang therefore knew what was going on in the capital. Many events. Therefore, after he and Feng Qingxiu left the Zhang family, they went to visit Wang Xinchen and his wife. Among the people they are familiar with, Wang Xinchen is currently in better condition and has not suffered any impact. Wang Xinchen and Guo Yan couldn't be happier, especially Guo Yan, who kept saying, when did you come to the capital? I didn't even say hello in advance to pick you up. Where is Zibao? Where is Fiobao? Why didn't you take the two children with you? Stand up. Wang Zonghua, who was several years older, ran to the door and quickly ran back. No Zibao, grandparents, Zibao didn't come, and sister Fiobao didn't come either. Wang Zonghua, who had grown into a big boy, pouted and was very unhappy. My parents sent me 3 tin frogs. One for me, one for Zibao, and one for Fiobao. I wanted to play with Zibao, but Zibao didn't come. Auntie, why didn't you bring Zibao? Feng Qingxiu handed the things she brought to Guo Yan, bent down and looked at Wang Zonghua at eye level. I'm sorry, Huahua, my uncle and I are out on business and we can't bring Zibao and Fiobao with us. If you want to play with Zibao, how about you go back to their house with your uncle and aunt? After listening to Wang Xinchen's words, Wang Zonghua nodded and shook his head. No, I can't bear to leave Grandpa and Grandma. How about, Grandpa, Grandma, let's go find Zibao and Fiobao together. Zibao must have grown taller, and Fu Bao must be a very beautiful little sister. Zibao wrote me a letter, he said Fu Bao is cute and beautiful. Mentioning this suggestion, Wang Zhonghua's eyes sparkled like stars. Wang Xinchen was silent. Seeing Wang Xinchen like this, Guo Yan's heart moved. Old Wang, you don't really want to go back to your hometown, do you? Lu Zhang and Feng Qingxiu looked at Wang Xinchen at the same time, with inquiries in their eyes. When it comes to my situation, it's not easy to go home. How many old leaders are unwilling to go back to their hometown? They are just worried about the local uprising. Wang Xinchen sighed, I can't go back, but you can take Huahua back for a visit. Don't reveal your identity, just treat yourself as ordinary people, family members of ordinary anti-war veterans. Guo Yan was not happy, but asked, why do you arrange for our grandparents to go back? Because his grandson was with him, Wang Xinchen avoided the important and took the easy. I just miss the mountains and rivers of my hometown. Since I can't go back home, you can take a look for me and tell me when you come back, just like I go back in person. Tell the truth, Guo Yan didn't believe what he said. Wang Xinchen smiled bitterly, I'm not lying to you. What truth do you want me to tell you? It's not like you don't know the situation in the capital right now. What's wrong with avoiding it? It's for your own good. Even if you are not by my side, I can still use my fists. I'm afraid you want to get into trouble, Guo Yan said bluntly, so, I have to stay in the capital and watch you. Guo Yan didn't want to go back to Huihei City. Wang Xinchen had no choice but to give up. Instead, he took Lu Zhang to the study to talk. Only Guo Yan's grandson and Feng Qingxiu were left in the hall. Wang Zhonghua kept talking about Zibao. That's right, it's such a pity that I didn't bring Zibao, Guo Yan also complained. Feng Qingxiu spread her hands, as I said, we are here to do things, how can we do things with a child?